Staff Room Monologues. Brought to you in association with the National Union of Teachers. The voice of the profession.
Jo Heathcote, an English teacher from Manchester, has written The Excellent Measure of Love. Funny and yet sensitive. I read it on the train from Bath to London and I laughed out loud and disturbed a guard. So I hope you enjoy it as much as I did.
I love those do's at Waterstones, don't you? Readings and book signings. All marketing shite, I know, but I still love them. £4, glass of wine thrown in, and an hour or two pretending you're part of some intellectual literati instead of the full-stop merchant you really are. I'd taken all my copies for Jeanette to sign. Then she'd know I was a committed reader. And there I was, queuing up with a load more English teachers and social workers when I clocked Natalie. It'd been a good 12 months since I put Natalie into a taxi at the end of the sixth form leaving ball. Put isn't quite the word I'd use to describe it. Natalie had been extricated from my arm by 2 helpful waitresses and 3 PE teachers. A big mess of mascara and green tartan taffeta, and bundled ignominiously into a minicab back to Blackburn. We all know how she feels about you, so I thought it'd be best to put her on your table, said the head of sixth form sagely the day before. I mean, the guy teaches maths, so I wasn't exactly expecting romantic delicacy, but you'd think a certain degree of logic wouldn't be out of the question. Anyway, I turned up with Debbie from Special Needs, and to be honest, I was partway through my Kia Royale before I recognised her. Bloody hell, says Debs. She's come as a box of shortbread. I didn't notice the warning signs. Stupid in retrospect. At first, I thought some malevolent 13-year-old had nabbed all the snaps of me from the photo display of the German exchange. Then my 40% cashmere jumper went missing. She spent a lot of time strolling to the science block past my window. And I knew for a fact she'd dropped chemistry. Then as soon as the mocks were over, I found the letter in my register. I opened it up, calm as you like, in my tutor group, expecting the usual nasty rash or lingering chest infection and no swimming. But no, there was my first name. I felt myself getting a bit hot as I took it all in. I thought, oh my God, I can't be found with this. It's the kind of thing the Daily Mail might publish and I'll be straight back to filling up the salad bar at Pizza Hut. I read it twice through just to get a bit more ruffled, and no sooner had I said, tuck your chairs under, but in she comes, bold as brass, looks me square in the eye. Did you get my letter? She says. Yes, thank you. Yes, I just had a chance to, I gibbered, desperate to insert a hint of professional detachment into my voice. You know, I'm the one that's supposed to be in control, and she knew damn well she had me on my back foot. Leave it with me. Leave it with me, I said haplessly, as though she'd asked for a reference for a Saturday job. To be fair, if I was ever going to fancy one of my students, it wouldn't have been Natalie. Not in a million years. I console myself with that. She was just too blow-waved for my liking. The other kids were merciless, and it was me who put a stop to them singing Come Fly With Me and making cracks about our moonlighting for EasyJet. But frankly, you could see where they were coming from. pleated skirts should be illegal, really, shouldn't they? Anyway, I managed to intercept her in the library, somewhere between Judy Blume and Charlotte Bronte. Ah, Natalie, about the letter. I say in a voice I used to a year niner with a missing homework. I think we should meet and have a little chat. I suggest a coffee in town in an attempt to do the right thing gently. I was dreading it, to tell you the truth. I wasn't even sure if it was legal. But on the day, it all goes swimmingly. She's very mature. And I try to explain that she's quite probably not in love. Not with me. Because I'm the least likely contender. I'm 10 years older than she is. I'm a married woman. I do 40 minutes in the role of liberal Guardian reader. And then I take her to Waterstones and buy her a Jeanette Winterson novel to help her come to terms with her sexuality. She cries a bit at the station, and I give her what I hope is a maternal little hug and wish I hadn't worn a Mac. Two days later, she sends me a love poem. I correct her spelling of vulnerable and return it with helpful comments. I don't open the Valentine card. When the phone rings late at night, I get my husband to answer it. She's pissed and crying when the taxi comes. She's clinging onto my arm and the others disentangle her. I tell her not to cry anymore and to enjoy the summer. I wished her well. If a bloke had ever said that to me, I'd have lamped him. Oh, you know, we're full of crap, really, English teachers, aren't we? We spend all that time trying to be moody and artistic, pretending we're at one with Lord Byron. We ponce about doing John Donne in a husky whisper. We get carried away reading out Wuthering Heights because we never get into Rada. Some poor, hormonal adolescent writes us a love letter and we take it to the union rep, just to be on the safe side. So, when Natalie spots me at the reading and dares me to acknowledge her, she still has me on the back foot. So I go back onto familiar English teacher territory. Brilliant. You're still reading Winterson, I enthuse, desperate to find a happy ending. Why is the measure of love loss? She quotes adeptly. I stop to think of all the things that never make it to a lesson plan, but are there indelible all the same. Why is the measure of love loss?
The idea for the monologue that I wrote is twofold, really. It came partly from my own English teacher when I was a sixth former, who was a really inspirational, really brilliant woman who just used to sweep into classrooms, and just everyone adored her, really. Everyone adored her and wanted to be like that teacher. And also in my own teaching career, you always imagine that sometimes it's the little boys that get crushes on their English teachers, their female teachers. And actually, in my own experience, I've always had kind of sweet girls buying me chocolates and being the ones who have slightly maybe had a little crush at the end of the day.
Yeah, you're right there. Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Very loud, actually.
Huh?
It surely doesn't have to be that loud.
Well,
I think in terms of the stereotypes about English teachers in the monologue, I think I'm probably quite disparaging about them in the sense that lots of English teachers that you meet are frustrated actors or performers, and they do like to use the English classroom as a legitimised showing off of their dramatic talents. And if somebody's reading out a part in a play that you're not particularly happy with, you're all too willing to step in and, you know, pretend that you're giving an Oscar-winning performance yourself. Hearing Julie kind of bring the script to life today has been really interesting. Because I'm not a professional writer, I suppose just envisaged someone saying these lines, but actually seeing Julie in a character and being aware that a character's being created and hearing the kind of humour and seeing her expressions today and the way that she's interpreted the script has just been really good fun and really interesting to see a different take on it. She's much more glamorous than I maybe at first envisaged, and I think that works really well. She's made a really great job of it. I think when the monologue comes out, I think the students will be very interested to watch it and to see a teacher's perspective on another teacher, and it might actually make them consider that teachers are quite human in some respects. I don't think they think that teachers have a life or an opinion outside the classroom. I'm not planning on setting a comprehension on the monologue, so that's hopefully good news for the rest of my classes.
Staff Room Monologues. Brought to you in association with the National Union of Teachers, the voice of the profession.